Welcome back, everyone. It's Eric from Rare Candy here. Today we are back actually with our very first batch of Cosmic Eclipse content, kicking things off with a look at two new decks that we are going to be getting from the set that we're trying out. So for here in this video, we have, of course, the new Reshiram Zekrom GX against the new Flygon GX. I'm going to be on the left playing the new Reshiram Zekrom, and then over on the right we have Walter Lopez, who is a local player from my area. He was nice enough to help me record this video. He's going to be playing the new Flygon GX, which also plays the new Silvally GX as well. So I'll have to see how this matchup is going to go. I think on paper it looks interesting because Reshiram Zekrom, it's this big, huge hulking tag team, takes big one-hit knockouts, but at the same time, Flygon, even though it's a little bit slower, also can one-shot tag team. So I think on paper there's like an interesting dynamic between both of these decks. And ouch, my opening hand is pretty bad, so just an attach pass. Walter, on the other hand, looks to be doing okay. He has turn 1 Fan Club, so he's going to be going for a Trapinch and a Type Null. And it looks like he does have a Type Null in the active spot as well. So this is pretty much what he wants to see. If he could get down, I think like one more Pokemon, I think he'd be, sitting a little bit nicer. But even still, I'm not putting on much pressure at all here, so I think it's fine, even if he doesn't have too much beyond this. And here he is going to attach to the active Type Null. I think there's consideration maybe attaching to the Trapinch as well, because he can always use red and blue to evolve into Silvally to get energy. And yeah, that does look like what he's doing. He's going to attach to the Trapinch instead. These games are just for fun, guys. So, and we're just testing around. So there might be a couple of plays we kind of take back every now and again in this video. So be a little bit forgiving when that may happen. Unfortunately, though, my hand still is straight flaming hot garbage. We have a bunch of energy, and yeah, that's about it. So just another attach pass. That's really what Walter wants to see, because he is kind of a slower evolution-based deck, and so he basically wants every spare turn he can get to establish his engine and his setup. So here we are going to see the new red and blue supporter, a very important new card, specifically in this deck, because it allows you to evolve into a Pokemon GX that one of your Pokemon evolves from, and then you may search your deck for 2 basic energies and attach them to that Pokemon if you discarded 2 cards from your hand. So he can evolve into a Silvally GX and get it powered up all in the same go. This is also good, of course, for Flygon GX in the late game, just because Flygon has a pretty annoying attack cost, 3 fighting energy. So this is definitely going to be a very integral card in this deck. So here he's able to play his hand down with red and blue and then use the ability on Silvally GX. I believe it's called Disc Reload. I believe that's what the current translation says, to refill his hand size to 5. So kind of like the old Octillery. So here we are going to see a Cherish Ball, probably going for another Silvally. So yeah, you can see his deck starting to come alive a little bit. Kind of like the Zoroark decks we've seen in the past. Like, turn 1, you just want to get a bunch of basics down. Then turn 2, once you get your Zoroark set up and going, your deck kind of takes off from there. It's kind of similar to that in a way. So yeah, if he can get down, I think another basic, that's what I would really like to see. But even if he doesn't, I think he's still in a good spot, because if he knocks out Turtonator, I don't actually have a benched Pokemon to use End's Resolve onto. But here he is going to get an extra card. So it looks like that extra card did help him. He is going to Communication that Vibrava back into the deck. And here he is going to just get another Trapinch. Kind of wouldn't mind seeing another Type Null, actually, believe it or not. Or maybe even a Ditto. Just because I think he pretty much always wants 2 Silvally GX in play at a given time. So if this one goes down miraculously, okay, and it looks like he is going to switch it up to Ditto. I do like that. So definitely a good idea from Walter. So that will give him the flexibility. If I do manage to scrape together a knockout, he will be able to turn that Ditto into another Silvally GX. And of course, if I don't do much, he can always turn it into a Vibrava. So here he's going to take a knockout with the attack on Silvally. It's 50 plus 70 more if you play a supporter for his turn. So here I am going to get down another Reshiram Zekrom and probably just another attach pass. This is definitely a pretty bad game so far. Normally I'm supposed to have the all basic super consistent deck, and Walter's supposed to have the the evolution deck here that's clunkier and less consistent, but it seems the roles have kind of reversed. So here I'm just going to play Great Catcher. It's a new item. You discard 2 cards from your hand and switch your opponent's active with one of their bench GXs. So I'm just trying to buy myself a couple turns to start to stabilize. So here Walter, it looks like he's going to start playing down his hand size a little bit. He's going to attach to the Flygon, but I don't really like that. And it looks like he's kind of rethinking that as well. He's going to attach to this active Silvally GX. I definitely like that a lot better because he's going to need to manually retreat or just attack into my Reshiram Zekrom, because this deck plays no switching cards. No switch, no Tate and Liza, anything like that. So he definitely needs to manually power up this active. And he does find a Mew. That's definitely good. That's going to protect him from my GX attack, which is pretty powerful. And here he actually finds a tool card in the deck that's pretty interesting. It's Island Challenge Amulet. So it's a tool card if it's attached to a GX. They give up one fewer prize, but they do get an HP reduction of 100. So this Silvally now has 110 HP, but it only gets up one prize, which is really nice because this deck is a little bit slower getting Flygons up. So you can basically turn your Silvallis into a bunch of one prizers until you finally get your big main attacker online with this deck, which is pretty cool. So here we'll see what else he's going to do. Looks like he's going to Pokemon Communication the Trapinch away for maybe a Vibrava. I wouldn't mind that. Okay, yeah, and that does look like what he's going to be going for here. That way he has the option of using red and blue to set up a second Flygon if I ever do pick off this other one. So beyond that, I mean, Walter is definitely sitting pretty nice over here. He doesn't really need too much to kind of, you know, keep this lead that he has right now. Okay, he is going to go for a fan club, so I do like that as well. We'll probably see maybe a Diancie Prism Star or another type null. Either one of those seems fine to me. Okay, so that does look like what he's going to be going for. So Diancie's going to be very important since he is in the lead here. Because Flygon GX's attack, it does 120, plus 120 more if there's a stadium and you discard the stadium. Martial Arts Dojo is going to do a 10 damage buff, putting you at 250. Then Diancie's going to bump you up to 270. So since Walter is ahead, he's not going to get that plus 40 buff from the Martial Arts Dojo. So Diancie's definitely going to be important here. And so here I do find a Dedenne GX. And let's see, we have Pokegear. And we do whiff. So just when I thought I was about to like actually stabilize and start doing stuff, we whiff the Pokegear. That feels pretty bad. Yeah, so this game is absolutely terrible for my deck so far. And okay, I do have another Pokegear at the least. And we do find Welder, but we have no fire energy in hand to Welder onto. So yeah, we're in just all around a pretty terrible spot right now, unfortunately. And it looks like I'm contemplating hanging on to the Reshiram Charizard, or I'm sorry, the Reshiram Zekrom. I don't think it matters too much in the grand scheme of things. And here I ultimately do bench it. That's fine. And we're probably just going to see a pass after that, I would maybe assume. Oh yeah, we do have enough energy to take a knockout because of the amulet. I did forget about that. So of course the attack on Reshiram Zekrom, very strong, a lightning and fire. Then you discard up to 3 lightning and fire from your bench Pokemon, and then 90 for each one you discard. So very strong. Unfortunately that challenge amulet definitely come in handy for Walter there. Gonna deny me an extra prize card. So here we're finally gonna see Flygon GX, you know, come out to play and start put a whooping on my Reshiram and Zekroms here. But here he's going to go for a Pokemon Communication, putting that Trapinch back into deck, it looks like. Okay, putting Flygon back in deck. Definitely a good idea from Walter, just because you do need your evolutions in your deck so that you can red and blue. And getting another type null, definitely very good. He's going for pretty much all the right things right now. And yeah, if we could see maybe a red and blue to establish this other Flygon GX, I think that's like basically checkmate from here. We'll have to see what else he can do this turn. But he does have his Diancie, he does have the Dojo, so he does have his combo pieces in play to be able to take this knockout. So let's see what else he has in hand. Didn't really get a good look. I think that's a Cynthia he might be eyeing down. If that's the case, I don't mind seeing that. Okay, so we're just going to see the Cynthia. That's fine here. He basically just wants to always have a red and blue in hand ready to go to get out another Flygon. So I think that's really the main thing he's going to be looking for. And he does find a challenge amulet. That's good. And he does find a red and blue. And unfortunately, he does draw into another Flygon. But he should have another one still left over in deck somewhere as well. And here he does have that Island Challenge amulet. He could get that down on his Flygon as well. I think there's also merit to not even attaching it, just because right now it doesn't look like I'm going to be able to get a return KO. And if he got down the amulet, that would basically let me knock out this Flygon a little bit easier. So I think the odds are in his favor for me to not actually have a return KO here. So here I do have a Pokegear, so I could grab an Ends Resolve potentially if I find one. And there I just have another Welder. So this game is like basically a wrap. And since he did knock out that Turtonator very early on, he's actually down to 2 prizes, which means he can always knock out the Dedenne. He can just catch it up at some point whenever he finds his own great catchers, and then just win that way. And he has the great catcher in hand, so we're just going to see him bring up the Dedenne and take a pretty decisive victory in this game 1 here. So pretty interesting how this game unfolded. Like I said, normally the Reshiram Zekrom is going to be the more consistent deck here since it's all basics. It doesn't have, you know, all of these evolutions and stuff like that clunking up the deck. So we'll have to see if, you know, things can go a little bit differently in this next game here. But that definitely was not how I wanted it to go ideally. So we basically just have to cross fingers and hope we don't draw dead. So this is going to be a best 2 out of 3 series, guys, if you didn't figure that out by now. So I do definitely have a couple games here to potentially bring this back and still win. We just need to not draw like we did last game. So I see we have a Dedenne in hand, we have Ends Resolve, so I think we're actually going to have a pretty solid first turn here, it looks like. And looks like Walter also starting with 3 basics, definitely really nice for his deck as well. And we draw a Reshiram Zekrom, and we're going to go for a Cherish Ball, probably finding Zeraora. Okay, yeah, it is in the deck, not prized, so we definitely want to find that out there. So Zeraora is definitely good in this deck, just because if you do get a Reshiram Zekrom that gets attacked, and you want to get out of the active, you can still keep the energy on it whenever you retreat, and then just discard it. And it's just nice because it keeps your energy in play to be able to do more damage with a fresh Reshiram Zekrom. So we're going to get that down. And then, like I said, we do have an Ends Resolve. So this is another new card from Cosmic Eclipse. You look at the top 6, you attach any energies you find there, but you discard the rest. And you can see luck is still not on my side, even going into this next game. So unfortunately, we just milled 6 cards of our deck and attached no energy in the process. Luckily, we do have the Dedenne GX. That's kind of our saving grace here. We can discard this hand and refresh our hand to 6. And okay, we do have a Welder in hand for next turn, so we're going to stabilize them, but still, that was an awful Ends Resolve. And statistically, it's like pretty unlikely to hit that combination of cards just because this list plays 22 energy, if I remember correctly. So theoretically, every 2 to 3 cards should be an energy. We shouldn't just hit 6 non-energy cards. But sometimes happens that way. But anyways, so Walter, it looks like he's going to go for a turn 1 fan club. Definitely a strong turn for him. Opening with 3 basics already, plus the fan club on top of that's really good. So here he is going to hunt down that Mew. I definitely like that good idea from him just because the GX tack, we didn't see it in game 1, but the GX tack on Reshiram and Zekrom actually is very, very good. So it's 2 fire, 2 lightning. It does 170 to one of your opponent's bench Pokemon, but if you played Ends Resolve in the same turn, you do 170 to an additional Pokemon. So it's actually very good against these slower like setup decks. So going for the Mew, definitely a good call on Walter's part here. So here I'm going to go for a Welder and probably just attach to the active and start putting on some pressure of my own and knock out this Type Null here. And it looks like I'm debating something. Oh, it looks like I'm debating getting down another Reshiram Zekrom. I guess that's fine. I don't think it really matters too much. But here looks like Walter's going to get down another Trapinch, it looks like. Okay, he's going to evolve into Vibrava first, it appears. And okay, he's going to go for red and blue. So definitely going to be good. He's going to be able to find his Silvally GX. You know, not having the other Type Null in play is definitely a bit of a bummer. So I think his turn, what he wants is, since he has the Silvally with energy, he's going to want Island Challenge Amulet, and he's also going to want another Type Null in play. I think those are going to be the big things he really wants. And also maybe a manual attachment on either Type Null or Vibrava. Ideally, if he can get 2 Type Nulls, that would be even more ideal, but he definitely needs at least 1, and probably an Island Challenge Amulet here, I would think. So let's see what he can get here. Did not get a good look at his hand. So it looks like he's conflicted about what he wants to put down here. Okay, so he's going to put down the Martial Arts Dojo. That is going to buff him up to 160. And it looks like he's going to go for a Dedenne. Getting rid of... Yeah, I'm not sure how much I like it. He has a Pokemon Communication in his hand. There's no point in not playing the Communication. Okay, and he is going to do that first before he Dedenne. So definitely a good idea on his part. He can put the Trapinch back in deck and then just grab another Titan Null. Definitely going to be good. That was the big thing he really wanted to see, I think, from this turn. Now, unfortunately, having the Dedenne down on the bench will take up an additional bench spot, so he won't be able to get down an additional Titan Null, but nevertheless, he's kind of finding what he needs. If he can find himself Island Challenge Amulet, that's going to be the other big card I think he might want to see this turn, in addition to a Manual Energy attachment somewhere, too. Alright, so he's going to toss away a Cynthia, not too bad, and we do see the Amulet and the Fighting Energy. Unfortunately, the rest of his hand looks pretty bad, which is a bit of a bummer here. He's going to have to hope for a good top deck. Because right now, I think I just see a bunch of energy in some fan clubs. So it looks like he's debating where he wants to attach the energy. He's thinking Vibrava. I might even consider the type Null here, actually. Because he's always going to be essentially one energy plus a red and blue away from attacking with Flygon. So if he just draws into a Silvally, he can actually just evolve and attach and attack with a Silvally without red and blue. So I like the attachment on the Type Null, definitely a good idea there. And here we're going to see an attack from from Silvally GX doing 160 damage since Walter is behind on prizes. And of course the Martial Arts Dojo applies to any Pokemon with basic fighting energy, not just fighting Pokemon. Here I'm going to go for a Marshadow, discarding that Martial Arts Dojo with that Reset Hole ability. But let's see what else I'm going to do this turn. Let's see what I have in hand. Okay, so I see an Ends Resolve, so I'm going to play Cherish Ball first just to thin a card out of the deck here. I'm going to go for a Dedenne just because I don't have too much in my hand beyond this Ends Resolve, and I really don't want to discard this Dedenne with the Ends Resolve. I want to be able to dump my hand after I play the Supporter. And so here, I think I actually do remember this play. I'm going for Pokegear, but then I remembered halfway through, wait, I'm just going to end up playing Ends Resolve, so I really shouldn't even take another Supporter here. And I should probably just fail the Pokegear. And that does look like what I'm going to do, so that's definitely a good idea on my part. Just because we're going to discard our hand, we don't want to discard a Supporter for no reason. And okay, there we go. That is how Ends Resolve is supposed to work. So we're going to get some energy, down on that Reshiram Zekrom here. And I think that's a tag switch in hand. If so, I definitely want to see that come down, move some of that energy around a little bit. So that looks like what I'm thinking about. And here I am going to go for the tag switch, going to move a Fire and Lightning to the other Reshiram Zekrom, attach Return to Zeraora, and then go for a Dedenne GX here. And oof, my hand is not very good, but luckily we are taking a knockout. That is the one good thing we have going on this turn. So if Walter's able to take a return KO, that would be pretty bad. So I did not get a good look at his hand, but here it looks like he is going to promote this Type Null. So he really wants to see a Silvally GX here, I think. Let's see, what does he find? He does get a Ditto, which is not too bad there. Okay, it looks like he does have communication, so he actually can get Silvally GX. And here it looks like he might be reconsidering the Ditto. Okay, so if that's the case, he's probably thinking he's probably going to fan club for an actual Type Null here, and then communicate the Ditto back in deck for a Silvally. That's probably what he's going to do, if I'm assuming. That way he has the option of using red and blue. Okay, and that looks like what he is kind of eyeing down preemptively here. Okay, so he is going to get down the Type Null here, going for the communication, putting Ditto back in deck, going for the Silvally GX. So he really needs to see... I think this turn the cards he really wants to see the most are going to be a Fighting Energy and a Great Catcher to knock out this benched Reshiram Zekrom. And then from there, all he needs is a Flygon GX in red and blue to knock out a clean Reshiram and Zekrom to close out this game. I think that's his ideal path to victory. So even though he's a couple prizes behind, it's really not even that big a deal based on the way his prizes are laid out here. And unfortunately, he does not find the Great Catcher, but he does have an Island Challenge Amulet. That's going to be good. Turning this Silvally GX into another one prizer. That'll be nice to buy him some time here. So we just have another martial arts dojo. We could see that hit the board as well. But he might even consider hanging on to it just to be able to one-shot a clean Reshiram Zekrom. So it looks like he's a little bit conflicted, but it looks like he's just going to go for the 120. I don't mind that here. So here I'm going to go for a Cherish Ball. Just thinning a card out of my deck. Unfortunately, my hand is just not the greatest. And like I said, if Walter's able to take a return KO on one of these next couple turns, or probably his next turn is going to be, I think, one of his last really big turns to capitalize. If he can do that, then he's actually going to be in a good spot to still win this game. So I have a bunch of energy and a Rayquaza in hand. Just trying to think, where do I want to attach? So it looks like I'm a little bit conflicted where I want to attach, but I don't think it matters too much because I have to discard the energy anyways. Well, I guess it does matter. If I'm going to retreat into a fresh Reshiram Zekrom, I guess I would have to attach the lightning there. So here, I think I'm just conflicted. I'm like, well, if Walter has a red and blue, he could potentially knock out this Reshiram Zekrom. But if I at least, like, if I give up this one in the active that has 3 energy, I'm losing an extra energy, but at the same time, he still needs some extra combo pieces to be able to take a knockout with Flygon. Because if I left the other Reshiram Zekrom active, it's easier to kind of pull off, but now I'm forcing him to have a manual attachment, red and blue, and a martial arts dojo, as opposed to just a red and blue and martial arts dojo. But looks like Walter might be thinking about just taking his turn off here if he's promoting the Diancie. And so that's a bit of a bummer. His hand really isn't too strong. He does have a martial arts dojo. He has a fan club in hand, it looks like. So, yeah, it looks like he might just be thinking about taking a turn off here just to kind of establish his board a little bit better. So, we're going to see a fan club. Probably going to see a Ditto come down or a Tight Null. I think those are the most likely of candidates. So, we're going to see Ditto come down. So that's definitely a big bummer that Walter's hand was the way it was. I mean, he did have a Flygon GX, so he could have theoretically promoted the Vibrava here and just try to play his hand down and hit red and blue, because if he was able to do that, you know, he would be able to potentially get a knockout this turn. So maybe he should have just promoted the Vibrava, and then if he whiffed, just manually retreated and sacrificed the Diancie then. So maybe that would have been a little bit of a stronger play, but, you know, maybe his hand, he felt like wasn't good enough to, or maybe he felt like he couldn't play down his hand enough to realistically hit what he needed. So here he's just going to take a turn off, getting another basic down, and then probably just refilling his hand size a little bit here, I would imagine. So we'll see. It looks like he's a little bit conflicted what he wants to do, but maybe he's thinking, do I want to play down this other card in my hand before I use Flygon GX's ability? But here he's just going to refill his hand size. So I did not see red and blue. I did see a Flygon. Does he have a manual attachment? That's another thing we haven't seen from him in like a turn or so now. So if that's the case, he might actually have some energy prized. So just a pass from Walter. So yeah, I think that those last 2 turns, like whiffing the Great Catcher was unfortunate the previous turn, but he could still come back from that. But then whiffing the attacker this turn, I think was just really bad. I think that was definitely Walter's turn to really get back in the game. But here looks like I am going to attach and retreat. But okay, yeah, I do remember this. I was thinking, okay, we're gonna retreat into this other Reshiram Zekrom and not have this Reshiram Zekrom with all this energy sitting in the active. But my hand's really bad. Like, it's really bad. And if I knock this out and then Walter does have a red and blue for next turn, I don't know if I can actually respond to a Flygon GX. So I actually might use the Diancie's own 2 retreat cost to my advantage here and just kind of like take a turn off to get some more energy in play. So yeah, that is what I do. And luckily for me, that is the route I go because we see Walter top decked into a red and blue. So I would have been severely punished for taking that prize there. So let's see what Walter is going to do here. So it looks like he is going for the red and blue, it appears. I'm actually not sure how much I like this. Just because if he does red and blue into the Flygon, he's now activating Great Catcher, and Flygon's the way he's going to win this game, ultimately, I think. And so now, I mean, I guess to Walter's credit, my hand is dead. I've just been like attached passing. So maybe in his mind, it's like, well, you know, Eric really doesn't have that much going on. I may as well play the red and blue, thin this stuff out of my deck, and get me a little bit closer to, you know, getting all of everything on my board powered up and activated. So you're going to see a Vibrava come down. So I do like the Vibrava at the very least if he is going to red and blue into the Flygon here. But does he have a manual attachment? And I still don't see one. We do see a Great Catcher in hand, but that's not really going to get him too far here. And just a pass. That's actually really bad. He really, I think, needed the fighting energy down to threaten the retreat on Diancie. But here, I do have Great Catcher in my hand after top decking at Heat Factory, getting back into this game. So, yeah, man, I think whiffing that turn of attack is just, you know, hurting Walter so bad here, because now I'm able to get energy into play, Great Catcher up this Flygon, and kind of punish him for getting it down. And I think knocking out the Flygon basically like almost seals up this game for me at this point. So here I'm going to go for the Great Catcher, bringing up the Flygon. That's definitely going to be the big threat right now in the field. So it looks like I'm retreating here. And it looks like I'm just kind of scared of another Flygon. Okay, yeah, and this actually probably is the correct play because Silvally actually can't knock me out. He is going to need a Flygon to take a knockout. And here, if he does have to take a knockout, it's going to be on a Pokemon that's already damaged. So it's kind of like Walter has to waste his damage that he's doing. So here he is going to Pokemon Communication. Going for, it looks like a Trapinch. Probably just to thin this stuff out of his deck. So he really needs red and blue this turn. That's going to be what he absolutely has to get. I'm just trying to think. There is a world where he still wins this, though. If he is able to... So if he is able to actually get Flygon powered up and reset Stamp, Walter's actually still in this game, because if I can... Because I would need 2 energy off of a reset Stamp to 1. So that would mean I would need like an energy, and then for my turn, I would need to hit like Rayquaza GX or a way to cheat energy into play somehow. So Walter actually does have like a win condition. I don't know what he has in hand, but... So he is going to go for Flygon. Let's see. So he does have energy. And that looks like all he has there, unfortunately. Now, this deck does play a Karate Belt, and he does have energy in his hand. So if he has Karate Belt to go with this, that would get him where he needs to be. But he needs the reset Stamp as well. Because right now, I essentially have game based on my current hand. And his last card's just a Pokemon Communication. That's so unfortunate. And yeah, that is going to be the game, unfortunately, as a result, since he does not have the attack. So kind of a heartbreaking game for Walter. He was honestly off to a really good start in that game. You know, he had a ton of basics. He found his sub-allies early on, was able to get some early attacks in, and he was just never able to quite close out the game despite having that strong start there. But of course, this is a best out of 3 series. Walter definitely has another chance to bring it back here and ultimately win this series. And okay, my first hand, or my opening hand, actually looks pretty decent. Starting Tapu Koko Prism Star isn't super fun, but we have End's Resolve and we have Cherish Ball and Dedenne, so I think we're actually in a really good spot, as long as we don't hit a terrible End's Resolve like we did at the beginning of that last game. So here, yet again, Walter's going to get that Turn 1 Pokemon Fan Club, definitely what he likes to see. So I believe he opens with a Trapinch, so we might see a Type Null and a Ditto. I think that's probably a safe assumption. So of course, Ditto is just going to allow him the flexibility. If this Trapinch does get knocked out, Ditto can always become a Vibrava while he uses Red and Blue to evolve Type Null. And of course, if that's not the case, Ditto is going to give him some flexibility on future turns as well to evolve into whatever he needs. So another card he would probably like to see is the Bench Barrier Mew. I'm not sure what he has in hand, but if he has Communication, I think I would like to see that come down as well here. Because theoretically, I actually could get off Reshiram Zekrom's GX attack on turn 1 here. We'd have to get a little bit lucky in terms of the energy that I get off End's Resolve, but it is possible. So we're going to search out the Reshiram Zekrom, definitely. And we're going to go for it, because if we can knock out the Type Null and the Ditto, like, you know, what can Walter even do at that point? It's taking away his draw engine, only leaving him with a Trapinch, and there's no rare candies in this Flygon list that I'm having him use. So, yeah. So we're going to go for the End's Resolve. Let's see. We need 4 energy. It's 1, 2, 3, and we hit all 4. Oh my god. So I feel really bad for Walter in this game. We're going to get down the Heat Factory and then Dedenne our hand. And here you can see Walter with his hand. He's like, bro, are you kidding? Oh my god. So here we're going to retreat. And we're just going to knock out both of his benched Pokemon. And I have to say, like what do you even do at that point? That is just so terrible. So here Walter is going to get down a Vibrava. Probably attached to the Vibrava. I think he has to, because he does have Cynthia in hand, because I think he's going to want to attach Cynthia and sacrifice something. And here we're going to see a Fan Club. Okay, so we're going to see a Type Null and probably a Pokemon to sacrifice. So he's going to go for the Mew to sacrifice that. Definitely would have been a card he wanted to see last turn. At this point, I've already used my GX attack though, so there's not really much point to keeping the Mew anymore. So, you know, even though I'm putting a lot of pressure on Walter, he's actually not out of this game. Like, let's not get that construed. Even if he sacrifices Mew, I go down to 3 prizes. If he's able to knock out my only Pokemon with energy, he's actually in a position to make a huge comeback. So here we're just going to see a pass. And looks like I have another End's Resolve. So let's see if we can hit off this one. And we only hit 2 energy. You know, not too bad. Not as bad as the 0 energy from the game previously. And of course not as good as the 4 energy we just hit. But nevertheless, we're keeping energy in play. That's really about all we can ask for right now. And here, just trying to think what do we want to do. Going to get down a Turtonator, it appears. Okay, going to take that back. Not a card we probably want to use too much in this matchup, maybe I'm thinking. So I probably should go for a Cherish Ball and start spreading my energy around. And let's see. So it looks like I'm going for a Cherish Ball here. And I think my Zero Aura is prized, if I'm not mistaken. So what else am I going to do? I guess I'm planning on getting rid of this Cocoa Prism Star. Okay, so I have Treasure, so I can treasure away the Lightning Energy. And I'm probably going to burn Cocoa. Yeah, so that seems good. Creating the bench space to allow me to use Dedenne. There we go. From there we can attach for turn. And just play Dedenne, dumping our hand, drawing a fresh hand of 6 here. And yeah, feel pretty good about the spot that our deck is in. I'm just going to discard 1 energy to knock out that Mew. So Walter's going to have to promote this Flygon GX. Or this Type Null, I should say, my bad. Communication. Putting Vibrava back in deck, so maybe just going for another Type Null. That seems good. I definitely don't mind that at all. And let's see, what else does he have? And just a Cynthia. Okay. So at least he does have another Type Null. He always wants at least an out to an additional Flygon GX at any point. And he's still not out of this game. You know, I keep saying that, but he definitely has a way to come back still, I think. So let's see. He does have Flygon GX. You know, I'm really only a fan of that if he has the Challenge Amulet to go along with it. See, I think that was a Fighting Energy in his hand, if I'm not mistaken. So let's see. hard to really get a good look at what he has to work with there. Looks like he has a bit of conflict about what he wants to play. We do see a basic fighting in his hand, so I would imagine we'll probably see that come down. And maybe even see a retreat into that ante. That honestly doesn't seem terrible either, just to preserve his type nulls. Yeah, and here you can see he's very torn where he wants that attachment. But again, I don't know what else is in his hand, so I'm really not sure what is the ideal thing he should play this turn. So it looks like he is going to retreat. And, okay, just see a pass, I guess. So his next turn is going to be his absolutely, I think, last turn to start putting on pressure. So it looks like I'm going to go for an Ends Resolve yet again. And yeah, we hit a ton of energy. So, I mean, at this point, maybe after having all this energy in play, maybe I'm finally too far ahead. And here it looks like I'm thinking about attaching to the Turtonator instead of the Reshiram Zekrom. I definitely like that just because that will allow us the option of attacking with Turtonator. And so, yeah, I think at this point we have enough energy in play to where I'm not actually sure if he can make the big comeback he needs to. I think maybe he would have needed to... Here's going to go for a reset stamp. The thing is, though, like, he can't go for the karate belt here, or he just loses. Because I only have 2 prizes left. So here's going to communication the Savali away. Maybe he's going for Dedenne if that's the case. Otherwise, I think he would just... keep the Savali and then refill your hand, probably. Okay, looks like... Okay, so that I think I do remember this. Yes, his Dedenne... This was the game his Dedenne was prized. So instead, he's just going to keep the Savali GX. Unfortunately, he doesn't have a communication hand, so if he draws into another Pokemon, he won't be able to set up another Savali. But this is the turn. He basically needs to get red and blue to start taking knockouts. And I'm not sure what the last card in his hand is. We'll have to see. So he's going to get down the Karate Belt just to burn some cards from his deck. Or, you know, to play down his hand a little bit further. So let's see, what does he get off of his 5 cards? Does he find himself a red and blue? So we see Challenge Amulet is in his hand. That's good. Does he have red and blue? That's the big thing he needs. Or another Savali would allow him to draw some more cards here. I see Fighting Energy. I think I see another Fighting Dojo, or I'm sorry, Martial Arts Dojo. And, oh, that's pretty bad. That might be the game. If we're not seeing any action from Walter, he might... Yes, that's unfortunate, guys. So that's like basically the game. I mean, technically, he had 2 turns if I didn't have Great Catcher, but that was the turn. I think he had to do something. Kind of unfortunate yet again. The Savali deck started out strong, but, you know, to be fair to Walter, getting a turn 1 double knockout on both of his bench Pokemon was absolutely huge. But nevertheless, happy to be able to show off both these decks for you guys. Of course, we will have the full deck profiles of both these decks being posted in the coming days. I'll have links down below in the description whenever those are live as well. And of course, stay tuned to the channel in general. We have a ton of Cosmic Eclipse content coming up over the next several weeks. But if you guys did enjoy this content today, feel free to like and subscribe, and consider supporting this channel by becoming a patron over at patreon.com/rarecandytcg, or by picking up some merch from our online store at rarecandytcg.com. That would mean a lot to us. But as always, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.